Hey guys, so I have a little demonstration type thing set up here. Here's my basin that holds water that I do testing and stuff like that in. I've got it on top of this little shelf set up so I can just sit in a little seat and come up right next to it and hopefully get some good shots, some good angles. But anyway, this is the pump that I've been using. It's just a small water pump. It's like a fountain pump, and I got it from Home Depot. It was the smallest one that I could find because I really wanted a super low water flow because the Cutaway toilet is, half of a toilet, so the water flow rate should be pretty low. So this is the smallest one that I could find, and I've got it down here plugged into the wall. This is the little switch that the plug goes into, and then the switch goes into the wall to turn it on and off, because the pump does not come with its own on and off switch. So basically without that switch, right when you plug the power cord to the pump in the wall, it starts. And that can, if you're not ready for that, spray water everywhere. So anyway, got the water in there, got the pump, and I wanted to demonstrate, this is something that I thought of when thinking about how the fill valve is going to operate, and when the float gets to its shut off point, to where it shuts the valve off. How I was thinking, how's that going to work? Because I don't have a switch that then relays that message to the pump to shut the pump off. And like with in residential houses that have well systems, they have a pressure tank, and the well pump is going to put water into that tank and pressurize it, and then when you use the pressure, when you use the water, turn your faucet or whatever on, the pressure tank is going to supply that to begin with, and as the pressure drops, that sends a signal to the well to turn on. And so I don't have a little mini pressure tank or anything like that. So I was thinking, how am I going to set this up? Because I thought if I directly hook this up with just one tube to the fill valve, and then the float gets to the point where it shuts it off, then what happens to the pump? It's just going to sit there and try to pump water into a closed system. And I'm like, is that going to burn the pump up? Is it going to damage the motor? So what I figured I would do is put two, you can see the two tubes coming into the one outlet of the pump. And so what that's going to do is one of these tubes goes to the fill valve, connects directly to the fill valve. And as the pump is pumping, it's pumping water out of both tubes. And another good thing about that is it splits the force coming out of the pump. It makes it basically just a fraction of the total force coming out of the pump into each tube. Because see, there's also space there. Like, it's not sealed, so you've got water coming through both tubes and around both tubes. And so there's the tube that's going to the fill valve is just essentially getting a fraction of the force from the pump. And then when that float rises and shuts the water off in one of these tubes, well, the pump is not just going to get bound up. It's going to still be able to pump water through the other tube and through the gap in there. And so, see, that works perfectly. Then the pump, doesn't get damaged. It can continue to run, and then the tank is full and shut off. And then when you flush, the water that was blocked off, like let's say that this is the tube going to the fill valve, and then let's say the float shuts this off, so I'm pinching it like it shut off. Well, then when the float drops, it opens this back up to pump water again. So that's a neat little system to where you can continuously fill the tank and have the float shut the water off and let the water in, shut the water off, back and forth, and the pump can just continuously run without, you know, having any issues. So just wanted to illustrate that, and I can even put, let's see if I can get up here. Let's see, put this in there and suction it to the side, and then you can see, put this one down in the water. Another thing is if I call it the secondary tube, which is the tube that's not connected to the fill valve. It's just the one that's just kind of like running free. If the secondary tube is in the air like this and just shooting water down into the water down here, then it should provide less resistance in the system versus if it's down in the water. Because if it's down in the water, then that's going to provide more resistance to the pump, and then that should provide more pressure to the other tube that's going up to the fill valve. That might be kind of hard to understand. I don't always use the best wording. Words are hard. But so we'll go ahead and turn this on and make sure it doesn't spray everywhere. So you can see this one. It's kind of a precarious angle there. And here's the other one. And of course down there, between where the two tubes go in, it's also shooting out water there. So now let's say that I pinch this off. Let's say this is the tube going into the fill valve, the float's rising, shuts the valve off, then that's just like me pinching this off. See, everything's still working. This is getting a little bit, this secondary tube is getting a little bit more forceful because I've backed up the other tube. See, everything's still running great, the pump's still running great, and then let's say you flush, and then this starts to release water again. You can see everything's working great. So that's the idea that I came up with. And it in my testing, my earlier testing, it worked out really well. So just figured I'd let you guys in on the concept behind that. Since, you know, like I said, I don't have a mini pressure tank like, you know, your residential housing is set up, and I don't have what's it called? I'm trying to think of the, like where the municipality, like if you're on city water and you have like municipal water coming in, which is, you know, always under pressure. So since I don't have that, this is basically what I came up with. Seems to work pretty good. And anyway, thank you guys again for watching, and thanks for subscribing and everything like that. Make sure to hit the notification bell, leave any comments below, and we'll see you in the next video.